Hello. So great to be with you again for this live series. I am Stephanie Bonte-Lebair with the Empowered Voice and Empowered Business Networking. And give me one second here. I want to put up a little title for today. If you are frustrated with networking in general, a low return on investment, if you feel pressured to give referrals to other people and you're frustrated because you don't receive referrals back, maybe you're one of those people who's great at connecting others, but you don't seem to be able to get that return on your connecting capabilities. That's what today's video is all about. We are going to talk about why it's important to stop focusing on transactional networking, that quid pro quo, that I give you one, I get one sort of energy, and instead focus on the transformation and the relationships that are inside these networking groups in a different way, especially that we are now in this almost exclusively virtual networking environment. Even as things start to open up, which there are some things starting to open up. And as the year goes forward, it's going to happen more and more, but it's never going to go away. This virtual networking saves us so much time. We don't have to drive places. We don't have to, there's just so much that is actually good about the virtual networking experience that I think that there's always going to be a hybrid version of it out there. So how do you do this? How do you connect and transform your relationships, transform your business, transform your ability to move forward in business as a result of networking in a new way? So if you love this video, give me some likes and hearts. And if you would like the show notes, detailed show notes, which will come after this video, give a hashtag empower. I'll make sure you get to the right location to grab those show notes. And if you're watching the replay, give a hashtag replay so I can come back and answer any questions or engage with you. And once again, I'm Stephanie Bonte-Lebair, and I am a professional singer turned voice presentation and sales coach. And I have spent my career selling myself and learning how to sell myself quickly and easily, which then translated into the business world. How do you really sell yourself through the use of your voice, through your presence, through the words that you choose to use? And today's topic is one of my favorites because one of the zones of genius that I realized I had was in my networking skills. Because as a singer trying to sell myself on stage all the time, I easily transitioned into the networking conversation. And not just networking for myself, but I also realized and saw what other people were doing to try to network. And I realized that there were skill sets that I could bring to the table to help it make it easier for them to connect in a more powerful way as well. And now that we're online, I'm going to share some top 3 ways that we can move from transactional to transformational when we are networking so that we can make a bigger difference everywhere we go. So first though, why? Why do we need to network differently? And there's the obvious, obviously, that we are online versus always in person. But there's also more to it than just that, just the facilitation piece. So why do we need to network differently now? And I would say that there has been a collective trauma that has happened on many levels. There's the pandemic, there's the race issue, there are political issues, and all of this anxiety and division and all the things we've gone through, the trauma that we have gone through has made us even more aware of our values. We have really had to ask ourselves, what do we value and how do we value it? And so our connections with other people have become more of a priority. Our ability to really connect and to understand each other has become more important to all of us, especially in business, because we have to have conversations with people in order to move our business forward. So this transformational networking is coming out of this new requirement that all of us are given to connect in a different way and to also feed our desire to connect with others who share our values. Most networking groups are still trying to network the same way they were before the pandemic hit. They've tried to facilitate it a little differently because of the online move, but a lot of the underlying energy is still the same. There's still that quid pro quo. There's still that focus on passing the referral, passing the business card. So, how can we shift this? How can we move into this new model? So, the first way I want to share with you today, and I've got a little graphic for all of these, so I want to make sure I put them up, is move from tracking referrals to tracking actions. Okay. So, basically, ask yourself, what is it you're actually tracking when you network? If you want to get away from that pressure of referrals, then how about we start tracking other actions that naturally lead to referrals? And this is something that I teach and train in my Empower Business Networking group is we talk about cross promotion. How can we cross promote each other in a way that feels authentic and natural and that we want to take those actions? And then naturally, it's going to increase visibility for everyone inside of our group, which will lead to more prospect conversations and sales. And we actually have a list of over 40 items. I've just listed a few here, and the print might be a little small, so I'll call some of them out. But obviously, there's the standard, hey, get to know you phone calls. If you're not networking one-on-one with people in your networking group, you are leaving so much money on the table. Don't just allow the meetings to be the only place that you connect with people. Set up those one-on-one conversations after those meetings. Giving social media shout outs. You can create a post about something that maybe is in the industry of someone who's in your networking group, and you can just give them a shout out and say, hey, you know, Scott is great at LinkedIn. And I found this LinkedIn article about the top 3 ways to connect on LinkedIn. So you can connect other people to their fields of industry and give them shout outs. You can tag them, right? You can provide them LinkedIn testimonials. Obviously, if you've worked with them, great, but you can also provide a testimonial to their character, right? You can give a LinkedIn testimonial that says, hey, I've been networking with this person for the last year, and I'm really impressed with their services. I'm really impressed with the way they talk about their clients and the customer service that they give. So you can give testimonials without necessarily having paid that person for their service. Okay, you can be a colleague and give a colleague testimonial. You can purchase their book if they have one. You can attend or an educational event that they have coming up to support them. You can follow their business page, right? You can like and comment on their posts for 30 days. You can make 3-way introductions, not just here's a name I have of somebody that you might like to meet, but let me get on a 3-way phone call with you and this person so I can give a proper introduction, or a 3-way email conversation where the email states, this is who you should meet and here's why. Okay, this is a piece that I often find missing. Sometimes people will throw names at me and be like, you should know this person, you should know that person. Let me send you the contact information. They don't give a introduction. And sometimes they'll even do an email that has barely any information, just like, Stephanie, I think you should know, have fun. Well, that's old networking energy, okay? We need new networking energy and this new way of connecting. Why do you think we would make a good connection? What is it about this person you love? What is it about me that you love that you want this person to know more about me? Give shout outs in a way and introductions in a way that create relationships. And then, of course, we have social media and we have live interview possibilities. Even if you don't have an official podcast, which if you do, great, use your podcast for your marketing. But also go ahead and interview somebody live on social media. I do this twice a month now. So I do 2 content creation videos a month and I do 2 live interviews a month, because that helps me mix it up and it helps me connect with people and give them a shout out on social media. And there's many, many others. This is just a few, but it's one way to move into a new version of networking and new energy. The next thing, number 2 way to move into transformational networking is, and let me hide this correctly, is move from quantity to quality. One of the things that happened when we all went online is there were a million different ways to network online. And you could network 6 times a day online because you didn't have to drive anywhere. All you had to do is go to the next Zoom meeting, which gave us all Zoom fatigue and drove some of us into a Zoom wall. Honestly, about 4 or 5 months after the pandemic hit, I sensed it. People were so tired of Zoom. So instead of networking anywhere and everywhere you can, which, that whole idea of let me get out there in front of as many people as possible, instead, let's shift into let me find a few places where I love to network and let me consistently show up there, because that is how you create partnerships. That's how you create relationships with others. And in Empower Business Networking, we actually create cohorts, which are smaller groups within the larger group by industry so that you can really network in a more effective way. And we create power partnerships where every single month someone is assigned to another person and you get to know them at a deep level so that you can decide what kind of cross promotion techniques in step one will we like to engage in naturally and organically to start to send referrals to each other versus that how many slips of paper did you send me this month that have referral names on them? Doesn't work so well. But you have to be able to be willing and able to engage in these more intimate relationships within your networking group. And it's really great if your networking group facilitates that conversation and helps give you the structure in place to have those conversations, which is what we do at Empower Business Networking. We create the structure and we say, okay, here's the time we've all set aside for the cohorts. Everybody come. Let's get into our cohorts and network more powerfully. Setting aside time for those one-on-one conversations with that person who's meant to help you for at least 30 days, if not longer. Okay. And the third way that we're going to talk about today is stop searching for clients and start searching for community. Now, you see a theme here around the connecting, and that is because the trauma we have gone through, we have all moved into a place, I think, on some level, where authenticity has moved up in our value system, with connecting with others has moved up in our value system because we've been denied some of the ways we've been able to connect in the past. And regardless of whether they start to come back, which is great, I'm looking forward to in-person networking. I'm looking forward to in-person speaking on stages at conferences again. I love to give hugs. I love to see people's eyes. I love to shake their hands. I love to give them high fives, right? All of that will be coming back in some shape or form. But we were still asked to assess our values. And I do believe that in general, people have said to themselves, listen, relationships are key. And what kind of communities do I want to be connected to? What kind of energies do I want to be connected to when I'm networking? Because when you show up on a Zoom meeting or a networking Zoom that maybe happens once a month, and different people are there every single time, and everybody's a little box on the screen, that sort of networking, although valuable, it has its place. It can still create some results if you know how to leverage it. Doesn't have the same feeling as committing to a group of people who you see consistently multiple times a month, and that you're working on how can we work together to help each other build our businesses. And that requires your commitment, of course, to show up in that way, but also is helpful when there's a facilitated community that also shares those values and is willing to commit to showing up multiple times a month in a way that's going to make a difference. So do you have a community like that shows up multiple times and maybe shows up in different ways, not just your standard networking event where everybody gets to introduce themselves and the guests are there and you're connecting, but has other ways to connect every single month as well? So that you have those different ways to meet with a cohort, meet with the power partner, have conversations, have masterminding, have educational programs available, all of that happening in the same month, repeating time and time again to create the consistency of those types of relationship building activities and the consistency of holding a container of support so that you can actually take action from it. That you're not just getting a few tips from a cool speaker that popped in that month, but then you're taking that information and you're implementing it into your business. And you're using your community for feedback. You're using your community for accountability. That's the kind of networking. That's the new version of networking. That's the transformational version of networking that I am encouraging you to find. And if you would like to come visit my networking group, Empowered Business Networking, that is what we are all about. And that is what I hope to grow and to create post-pandemic and as we transition into the new hybrid model that is occurring. So quick recap, top 3 ways to move from transactional to transformational networking. Number 1, focus on actions, not referrals. Focus on what actions you need to take to create those referrals organically. Number 2, focus on quality relationships, not quantity. Stop hopping around to 16 different networking groups and choose 2, maybe 3 that you really, really love. The community energy is a good fit for you. And number 3, move from searching for clients to searching for community. Because in the process of searching for the right communities, you will find the right power partners and the right prospects will start to fill into your funnel. I'm going to be live again next Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm Stephanie Bonte-Lebair, helping you love the sound of your voice so you can monetize it when you network and speak. Until next time.